time for us to head live to Malmö for all the latest ahead of the Eurovision Song Contest tonight. GB News reporter Charlie Peters is over there. Any protests at the venue tonight, Charlie?
Yes, Darren, in the last moments, just in the last minute or so, there have been some scuffles between pro-Palestinian protesters who've suddenly emerged outside the venue and the police here, who have formed a perimeter just outside the venue, just towards the edge of this square here. There is a gathering of people with Palestinian flags and also some of the keffiyeh, the Arab solidarity scarves that are often worn by protesters. We did see some clashes here. A man is receiving treatment just a few meters away from me. It seems he has an eye injury or a facial injury after a scuffle with the police. No arrests as far as I can tell, but the police arrived very suddenly to deal with this swarm. Now, earlier today, there were thousands of protesters in the south of Malmö in a 1,000-strong protest that marched from the centre of the town towards a park in the west side. Now, while the protests outside the arena have been quite limited, the thousands that we saw in the south included some more extreme chants. We saw flags for the PFLP, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, which is designated a terrorist organisation by the United States, Canada, Japan, and indeed the European Union. So quite brazen to see PFLP flags on display in Europe.
And we've
also seen people chanting for the end of Israel.
We're just seeing, Charlie, some live footage, live feed of the police really scrambling, actually, as the sort of line, as it were, is being pushed at by protesters trying to get through. I mean, it doesn't look like it's all a nest of singing birds, put it that way.
Yeah, there was a very significant scuffle here, and it comes on the backdrop of a chaotic day at Eurovision. I mean, in the last 20 minutes, the Finnish vote announcer said that they would be withdrawing from tonight's performance. That comes just a couple of hours after Norway's jury vote announcer also said they couldn't get involved. The Finnish representative saying that it just felt wrong. We've also seen statements coming from the Irish camp. They've said that there was some inappropriate comments being made by the Israeli broadcaster a couple of nights ago. They've lodged a complaint. And then Eurovision, meant to be a non-political event, we did see the French contestant deliver a speech halfway through his final rehearsal earlier today, which referred to the motto of Eurovision, United by Music, and made references to a need for peace and other claims. This all going on at the same time, of course, as much of the world's focus in Malmö is on the situation with the Israeli contestant, Idi Golan. As this serious security presence you're seeing here gathers outside the venue to try and secure that perimeter, there has also been a tremendous effort to protect the Israeli contestant at her hotel. We do know that the head of Shin Bet, Israel's MI5, flew out earlier in the week to provide a direct oversight of the security plans. Quite a significant step amid the country's existential war in Gaza and other zones in the Near East as it tackles Iran-backed proxies. So it has been a day of total chaos here. 160 million expected to tune in. But while all of this madness is going on, everyone's talking about the Croatian performer Lasagna Baby, who is the bookies' favourite to win tonight, serving up a hot favourite song, Lasagna Baby. It's quite remarkable, I know, here we are. And the second odds-on favourite is an Israeli contestant. By contrast, Ollie Alexander coming in for the United Kingdom, 175 to 1 with the bookies. Keep the faith.
Yeah, so well, there's no surprises there. And I mean, I don't know about Israel, but if I were thinking that the Finnish had dropped out and they're saying they're not going to support us anymore, and that the Irish aren't either, I don't think Israel are going to be crying themselves to sleep, put it that way. But look, I think Israel stands a good chance, though, do you not, Charlie?
Well, they're certainly doing a significant PR campaign on their social media feeds. Israeli representatives and, of course, Idi Golan, they're pretty confident. They think they're in for the shot. The bookies seem to think so as well. And if all this chaos that we're seeing today moves voters in one direction, based on what we've seen, demands for Israel to be shut down, the country to no longer exist, support for an extremist organisation such as the PFLP, it might not necessarily swing European viewers in favour of the competing countries.
Well, we live in hope. Thank you very much, Charlie Peters, for that update there. Stay safe as ever. Now, folks, any
what a mess.
Any thoughts on that?
You know what?
Where do you start? Where do you begin?
On who we think might win Eurovision?
Oh, no, not... Well, yeah, I mean, you can answer that.
I mean, I do.
But I just mean the sort of broader, everything that's going on.
I just think, quite often, when music and politics and everyone gets upset, I just think, shut up and enjoy the music. That's all that comes to mind, because it's meant to be an event where people come together, they have fun, they listen to awful... Euro pop music and tacky outfits, a bit like Darren's, and
I can't.
And then that's what Eurovision is about. It is not about Israel and Gaza.
They're becoming the modern snowflakes, the pro-Palestine protesters, aren't they? I mean, any mention of the word Israel and they're there with their flags and their protesters, it's just getting ridiculous. This poor girl, she's 21 years old, 20 years old. She's just trying to sing on stage.
Well,
she's not conducting the war.
Do you think actually Eden Golan becoming a proxy for the Israeli government, 20-year-old having to have the highest possible Israeli protection and threats to her life.
Yeah.
She was told to stay in a hotel. I mean, that must be, psychologically, for a 20-year-old kid. You are a kid at 20, I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound patronising.
No, definitely.
But, yeah, that must feel awful, right?
Well, I was writing about this yesterday, and the thing that I wanted to get across is you've got no idea what she actually believes, right? You've got no idea. You don't know what a connection is to the government, to Netanyahu, to the IDS, how she votes. You don't know any of it. And also, if she's in a very particular position on the world stage at this moment representing Israel, that's a huge amount of pressure on her. And she probably just wants the politics to go away and to be allowed to do her job.
She's very talented.
Yeah, and she's just a singer and a dancer and a performer. She isn't a politician. She doesn't need to make a political statement about our country. Just let her perform.
The demographic of Malmö, where the event is taking place tonight, is about 40-50% migrant. So,
Right, okie doke, folks.